Hello, my name is Danny, and today I'm going to give my personal conclusion about inflation and its impact on economic stability. In my opinion, inflation can be both beneficial to economic recovery and in some cases negative. If inflation becomes too high, the economy can suffer. Conversely, if inflation is controlled and at reasonable levels, the economy may prosper. With control, lower inflation, employment increases. Consumers have more money to buy goods and services, and the economy benefits and grows. Furthermore, occasionally inflation erodes purchasing power and its inflation's primary and most and it is inflation's primary and most pervasive effect. An overall rise an overall rise in prices over time reduces the purchasing power of consumers since a fixed amount of money will afford progressively less consumption. Consumers lose purchasing power regardless of what the inflation rate is, whether it's 2% or 4%. This just means that they lose it as twice as fast at the higher rate. Compounding ensures that the overall price level increases more than twice as much over the long run if long run inflation were to double. Lower income consumers tend to spend a higher proportion of their income on necessities than those with higher income. This means that they would have less of a caution against the loss of purchasing power inherent in inflation. Policy makers and financial market participants often focus on core inflation. This measurement of inflation excludes the prices of food and energy because they tend to be more volatile and less reflective of the longer-term inflation trends. But earners with lower income spend a relatively large proportion of their weekly or monthly household budgets on food and energy, and commodities that are hard to substitute or go without when prices spike. However, a little inflation can signal a healthy economy. As such, it's not something that's likely to cause inflation expectations to rise. For example, if inflation was 2% last year and it's 2% this year, it's most likely background noise. Business workers and consumers would likely expect inflation to remain at 2% next year in that scenario. But expectations of future inflation will begin to rise accordingly when the inflation rate accelerates sharply and stays high. As those expectations rise, workers start demanding larger wage increases, and employers pass those costs on by raising prices on the output, uh, setting off a wage price spiral. So overall, inflation, um, I could say it has a neutral effect because sometimes it's good and it sometimes can be bad for the different economies of the different countries.